Have you ever looked back on your previous relationships and realized that there was something a little bit too similar about them? Maybe it was to different people, but it was the same dynamic, the same people pleasing, the same arguments, the same conversations that go nowhere. You're working so hard, but the relationship is falling apart. And at some point you start wondering, why am I so attracted to the same type of person? But what I have learned the hard way is that you are not just attracted to the same type of people by chance. You are repeating a subconscious pattern. The hardest part of all of this is that you don't usually realize that you're repeating that pattern until you're already so deep in it. So I am Callie, and this is something that I had to learn the hard way in my own life. But when I finally stepped back and looked at myself, my life, and who I was attracting, my relationship patterns, I really noticed something uncomfortable for me. And that was that the people were different. And they were all very different on the surface. But the dynamic, the way that I responded or reacted, it was all the same. And that is when I realized that there was something deeper going on. And it's not about saying, oh, I just attract bad people, because that's also not true. But it's understanding that your body and your mind learned to become attracted to a certain situation that maybe wasn't particularly healthy, but it felt familiar. So your nervous system's repeating that automatically in every relationship that you have. A pattern of behavior, when I say that, it is a response that your system runs on when it is being activated by a certain external environment or an external situation. Is it overgiving? Is it people pleasing? Is it blaming? Is it victimizing, withdrawing, shutting down, hyper independence? What is the way that we respond? None of our responses are random, they are patterned. And this is the hard part. Your nervous system is always scanning for what feels familiar, even if the familiar is something that is not particularly healthy or in your vision. And that is the thing we often overlook. We think, okay, I'm out of that relationship. I've learned for next time. I know exactly what to look for. And we make a list of things that we will look for. And then when we find that thing or that person also gives us certain activations that give us patterns of behavior responses. We assume that we are selecting purely from logic, but we can't run away from our nervous system. So if you grew up around a lot of inconsistency or a lack of intimate love, unpredictability, having to work hard for connection, if anything, then your system learned how to function within those dynamics. And then later in life, it's going to pull you into what it feels familiar to, because we haven't repatterned the nervous system to be able to distinguish and look for a safer route. So as you can see, it is not because you consciously want that outcome. It's because your system recognizes the pattern and it knows how to respond in only a handful of ways that it learned from years ago. If you can relate to this, comment below. You are not alone. I can tell you, I have done this too. And sometimes I like giving analogies just to make this land a little easier. It's kind of like reaching for your phone all the time without thinking about it. You're kind of like, okay, what's on my social media? Oh, who can I call? You're always kind of grabbing your phone instinctively because it's what the brain has been patterned to do, is to look for that. It's the same thing. Our brain has been patterned to respond in a certain way, to look for certain dynamics, to be able to relate to familiarity, because that's what it was patterned to do. And this is why two people can have a similar relational dynamic and two different people will respond to these dynamics in completely different ways. One person might see all the red lights and walk away or set a boundary, and the other person might see all green lights until there's no avoiding the red lights. So if this is landing for you, that alone is so important. And this is not about blame, as none of my videos are. None of this is about blame. This is all about knowledge, and knowledge is power. Because this is the part that actually starts to change things. When you can start to notice a pattern of behavior that you are giving out, a response that you are attracted to, the moment you can begin to notice this relationship dynamic and what you know is unhealthy, but what you're patterned to attract yourself to, that is where you can create space. And that space, you get your power back. It's like when you go and somebody hides your phone away, you have space. And it depends on what you do in that space. What you do in that space matters. But the first thing is creating that space. And space is created with awareness. So the reason I talk about awareness, it is so important. Awareness is the number one thing that you can do to create space to be able to have aha moments, to be able to do something different, whether it's just pausing, whether it's questioning what feels normal versus healthy, to be able to eventually choose something different. And that's why repeating relationship patterns is not just frustrating, it's actually information. It's important and it's useful. So if you're in the middle of this right now, think of this as, okay, I'm in a situation where I have information. I'm armed. This is good. And this information is going to show you exactly where your system learned to protect you. And that awareness, that matters more than people think. The problem is when we start to attach shame or self-judgment on this awareness. Because you do not have to fix everything overnight. In fact, I suggest you don't try to fix everything overnight. And you don't have to have the entire answer today, after this video, or tomorrow morning. Sometimes the first shift is actually being able to say, oh, right. And to be able to create space to figure out what to do next. So that awareness alone, that will change so much. So for now, if you're in this space of realizing that, okay, I'm attracting the same dynamic everywhere I go, I just want you to start paying attention, start writing it down. Look at the dynamics that keep repeating and just start to become aware of them. And think about the role that you play in the connection when it starts to feel threatened. Are you clinging? Or are you shutting down? Are you staying too long? Are you not setting a boundary? Are you people pleasing, looking for external validation? Are you judging yourself, shaming yourself? And all of this is really just to see clearly. Because when you stop fighting this, and you start trying to understand it, that's where you can start to change. It's like getting curious rather than getting defensive. It's like getting honest and loving and compassionate with yourself rather than throwing daggers at yourself. So over the next few videos, I'm gonna break all of this down and give you step-by-step instructions on how to be able to bypass that pattern of behavior and to begin to start to train the nervous system and the brain to use a different response. If you are interested in being a part of this journey, understanding your patterns of behavior, looking to squash them and to pick a new way of being, subscribe to my channel because I would love to be a part of this journey with you. When the pattern changes, all of your relationships change. So if you're still here, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.